what happens when you look at a script for a film versus when you're reading Pinter?
Well, I think, when someone like Loki, Stan Lee borrowed those characters from classical myth. They are part of the Norse pantheon.
Well, there is something deeply Shakespearean about those pieces.
And I think he knew that too. I mean, I think even in those early print editions of the Thor comics, he has Thor and Loki speaking in this kind of old, almost Shakespearean dialect. But when you're stepping into the shoes of a character who's been around in the collective consciousness for over 2,000 years, characters like Thor and Loki, you're stepping into something with sort of gravitas before you've even arrived. So you have to engage with that. If you're going to play the god of something, in this case, the god of mischief, there's a weight to that. But also, I think with the Night Manager, a writer like John le Carré writes in quite a classical way. He sees especially that particular character I played, that he has a kind of classical nobility to him, which is challenged time and time again. He's tried to be seduced by the dark side, and there is something classical about that. There's a war between the good and the bad within him. Those are parts of classical stories, being tempted by the other side. So maybe it's just the way I've read things. Maybe it's my background in it. How I was educated, the books, the things I studied, the books I read, my degree. I don't know.
Have you started to? Actually, let me rephrase that. What is in your little mental catalog of characters you're hoping to play as you get older? Because there are a couple I'd love to see down the line, but I'd love to see you take on more of the American classical writers. I mean, obviously you've done Williams, but like who are you? I mean, have you done much Ibsen?
I haven't. No, I these are also Ibsen, the great sort of Scandinavian writers. Strindberg, I think, wrote some extraordinary plays. And as you say, the great Americans, Miller. I've always been fascinated by Arthur Miller. I think I've had very profound experiences in the theatre watching other people in those plays. I'm always I feel very careful about. I feel quite lucky to have done what I've done, so I never want to jinx it by writing the wish list too loudly. But I think I would be very grateful if I was able to continue down the Shakespearean sort of path. There are some parts for an older man that I hope I get a crack at one day. I think there's something playing in those big plays, which are so profoundly about the most complex aspects of being alive. They change you as I go through my life. I feel because you have to. I have to align myself with his mind, and he had one of the most extraordinary minds that has ever been. And so you inhabit the shapes of his thoughts and the shapes of his writing. It probably sounds pretentious, but some of these big parts like Coriolanus or Hamlet, they slightly change you on a chemical level.